VincentRustyEye.
One of the most unnerving crazies was one we called the Rocker. This was in 1965, during my first 2 years at the asylum. Some mentally ill people tend to rock back and forth pretty often, especially after therapy. Some even rocked in the middle of their sleep. The Rocker, though, was called the Rocker because when he got 1 ounce of stress in his blood, he would freeze like a statue. In the kitchen one day, I was 2 years in and still feeling hopeful that my position would help all these guys recover and be normal again, even the more insane ones, like the Rocker. The Rocker started grabbing red pepper flakes and tossing them in random dishes. This was making the others kind of mad, and the stress level went up. I told the Rocker to stop and just go sit down. That's when he literally froze. I've never seen anyone, any living thing freeze like that. All of a sudden he started breathing again, but he was still frozen, his eyes stone cold and staring at me as I wondered if he was conscious. The nurses came in and picked him up completely frozen and moved him to an area away from the others. I walked over to one of them and asked her what the hell had just happened. They said the shock therapy had messed up his nerves so bad that when he was stressed, he acted like he was getting shocked. He would tense up and wouldn't breathe, and even pass out. But his nerves would still keep firing, and he would get stuck until waking back up, and his nerves would calm again. This freaked me out. I asked the nurses how in the world you could deal with a person who, every time he gets stressed out, freezes up. They responded by telling me I couldn't tell him anything he was doing was wrong. That went against everything in me. How could you teach insane people how to recover if you babied them? I told them I didn't think he was cut out for the program, if he couldn't follow the rules and couldn't handle being reprimanded. Looking back, I feel like I was such a dick. But I was new and had this idea that mentally ill people could somehow be cured with a mix of kindness and discipline. Then I, like a fool, talked with his doctor about moving him to a different therapy. This is how that conversation went. "Doc, I think you need to switch his therapy. He freezes up whenever he gets stressed. You conditioned him. Isn't there something else we can do for him?" The doctor was looking at a file. He didn't put it down and just kept reading it and said, "Bill, do you even know why he is here? Do you know why we are still treating him?" I paused and realized I wasn't the doctor. It kind of hit home. I was in this doctor's office telling him how to do his job and thinking he would listen to me. "No, I'm sorry, I just..." He cut me off. This is a man who was, by keyword, a psychopath. He was able to look around a room, locate all the exits and weapons, who was able to take him, who was able to hurt him, who he could kill first in a matter of seconds. So we conditioned him to freeze up during stress, and now he is cured. I understand if you don't want him in this class, but we can't switch his therapy, and I don't want him going back to his killer instincts. The therapy is working." I looked at him with wide eyes. It was like he knew it was wrong, but didn't want to admit it because the guy wasn't hurting anyone. With all due respect, he's not cured. He's a psychopath who seizes up every time he thinks the word kill. The doctor put down his folder. "What do you want me to do, Bill? He killed and killed and killed. Finally, they caught him. He was sent to be cured and monitored." I was so angry, but I didn't want to lose my job and I wisely shut up. "It's a success story, Bill. We are able to turn monsters away from killing. If we can perfect it without the seizing, we might put prisons out of business. Just relax." I was furious at this point. Relax? Relax? How did he get off taking crazy people and numbing their minds to mush just to save them? The story's not over though. The next day I asked to talk with the rocker. I told the nurses I was going to apologize and let him know it wasn't him I was angry at, just the situation. I was young, so naive. I went in and sat on his bed with him. He just looked over at me, and his eyes began to twitch, a look of anger coming across his face. Listen, I know you're getting therapy. I just wanted to let you know that I understand you're mentally cognizant, and just wanted to apologize for earlier. I looked at his eyes. His hands moved to my neck with lightning speed, and he seized his fingers around my neck. I could not breathe. I tried to yell but couldn't, so I just started gurgling on my own spit. I thought, my God, I'm going to die right here in this cell. I saw in his eyes anger, hate. In came the nurses. I started seeing stars. I started fading. I saw them trying to move his arms, but they couldn't. And then everything went black. I woke up lying in a hospital bed and a huge gash in my arm sewn up. I asked what had happened, and the nurses said the rocker couldn't physically let go, so one of the nurses ran and grabbed a fire axe, and she cut the guy's hands off. In the frantic rush, she also sliced through and got me in the arm. When I got back to work 2 weeks later, I found him walking the halls. No hands. When I saw him, he just seized up. It was at this point they realized they couldn't let him be there anymore. He was just too stressed out by seeing me, so they moved him to another asylum. That was the day I learned to never assume a psychopath is safe, even after he's had therapy. I saw in his eyes hate. I wasn't sure if it was for me or the system. Was that guy a monster? No, but he did kill people. It was our job to turn them back into people again. Shock therapy wasn't making him less of a psychopath. It was making him a tame psychopath. I know it sounds like I'm saying he's an animal, but I'm not sure how else to put it. He killed without remorse. I don't know what to call that, but I still had hope for him. And I suppose I still do, just from a distance. The one thing I could never figure out is why the rocker put the red pepper flakes into our food. I just wonder if he realized it was the only way he could cause pain to people without stressing himself. Since he couldn't talk, I probably will never know. I think if I was to go in his head, his thoughts would be, screw this place, screw these people, screw this life. And that is a dangerous place to be in. Psychopaths are very different from people like the Mumbler. They are so sick, we don't even know how to fix them. The Mumbler can be talked to. He can be told not to listen to the voices, even if medicated. A psychopath just does. He does without feeling or emotion. He would have killed me and not thought about the why. He doesn't count his killers because he probably doesn't remember them, nor does he care. I just wish I knew how to help them.